Welcome to the 9 o'clock news, local edition on Rock 93.7. We've got in studio tonight, Josh Fields. Now, are we going to go by Josh, Joshua? How does this work?
Yeah, usually Josh.
Okay.
It's Shua.
There you go. Mr. Shua to you. Now, Josh, you are a solo artist in that the material and stuff that you've put together, you've just been working on your own. And do you play all your own instruments? Or?
I do. Aside from the drums, I program the drums. I have software that I program the drums with. But it makes it great because I don't have to worry about anybody taking my girlfriend or, taking them home after they're drunk. You know drummers.
Yeah, well, okay. Oh, right then. Off to a good start with a drummer joke. Anyway, so then you play guitar?
Yeah. That's my primary instrument. I play guitar and I sing, and I've done that for a lot of years. But I also dabble with the piano, and I play bass, of course. And I'm a lightweight banjo player. I wouldn't consider myself a banjo player. I just try. There's a lot of these guys around here. Well, you've seen them at the community centers. They're retired from the Grand Ole Opry, and now they're playing for coffee, and they're better than you'll ever be.
Yeah.
So
hey, even Keith Urban's picked up a banjo.
Right.
So,
yeah, and he's good at it.
But he seems to be a natural at a lot of instruments. So you've transitioned, you do the guitar, and you've kind of moved around. Was it hard picking up different instruments to do them by yourself? I mean, was it just simply one of those things where you learned the guitar, and once you had the guitar, you kind of went, well, and how to do this, so... Or was there a learning curve?
Well, there was a learning curve, but I'll tell you what helped me was I interned at Front Street Studios in Ohio for Jeff Pence, who was in the pop band Blessed Union of Souls in the 90s, had a few hits. But he really taught me to think in terms of songs as opposed to being an instrumentalist. And I think that when you start thinking like that about the guitar, then it makes it a lot easier for other, with other instruments, because you're always trying to play what's right for the song as opposed to, look what I can do on the guitar, look what I can do on this or that. So that was really the watershed moment for me.
So it's more about taking the instrument and trying to figure out how to craft out that certain sound that you're going for, instead of just saying, I know a couple 3 notes here, let's make these work.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is to kind of drive it home here is that you don't have to be a virtuoso on every single instrument. As long as you know the basics, you can get your point across in the context of most songs in popular music. You know what I mean? So that's the way I approach it.
Well, in crafting some of these songs together and doing it from the approach that you're just looking at the song, tell me about one of your songs. Let's look at Blamed. Tell me how that one came together.
The truth about that song is that it was, and a lot of my songs are this way. I actually write from a standpoint of probably what an old school country writer would write from. 3 chords and the truth. You know what I'm saying? And that song was really about the mother of my daughter and our relationship. And I try to even, it's impossible to write a bunch of songs and have every single song have something that was real from your life in it. But I always try, when I write songs, I always try to write with an element of a universal truth for all people, because, the big thing about songwriting is you're just trying to convey a message to somebody, how you feel about something. And if it's, if you're writing about dragons and, a lot of these hard metal songs, it could be, but so that's the way I approach it.
But let's give it a listen. This is Blamed on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. You are listening to the local edition of the 9 o'clock news on Rock 93.7. The show is all about local bands, local artists out trying to make a name for themselves. And in studio with me tonight, I've got one such artist who is going the solo route, but also trying to do something along the lines of getting a band formed. I've got Josh Fields in with me tonight. Josh, your side project started out originally, I think, when you reached out to us, you have a side project that you work with called Six Cycle Hum.
That's correct. I do. Old friends from where I'm from up in Cincinnati. It's kind of cool because this day and age, you don't even have to be in the same room to write songs. You know, it actually started out as kind of a fluke. They were recording at my buddy's studio. He owns a music store and a studio in Lebanon, Ohio. And they were recording, and they didn't have a singer. And he called me and was just telling me about his situation. And I was like, well, send me the track. And he'd never dreamed of doing anything like that. So he sent it to me. And I wrote some words and recorded the vocals over top of it, sent it back. He loved it. And so then we figured out a way to record together and write together, and we did it through Skype and Dropbox. So that's how we work. I can actually pull up the Pro Tools session and see what they've done minutes after they've done it. As soon as it syncs to the internet, it's there, and I can pull it up and see, oh, they put new guitars in or whatever, you know. It's cool.
I think it's an interesting time to be making music these days. That's a long distance band. I don't think you've ever heard. I know there are bands like Nikki Sixx has been working with his band 6 a.m. and in the process also working with his other band, The Crew. Well, while they were on the road with The Crew, he was putting things together and doing something similar with his bandmates. So that's on a major scale, but to see it done on a local level, I think that's kind of cool too. And to see that we've reached the point where you've got access to those kinds of tools and can do those kinds of things. So whenever they get done with the session and you get a chance to look at it, do you immediately start working on something for that? Or do you just kind of look at it and take a few days to do something with it? Or?
Well, it depends. If I get, you know, inspiration hits me, I'll start working on it right then, you know, or whatever, you know, at the same time, the recording, I'm on Skype with them, talking about them, you know, talking to them about the song, listening, you know what I mean? Saying, yeah, I like this. I don't like this. So it's just like, you know, writing and being in the room. The great thing about a long distance relationship in a band is it's real easy to keep them together.
Yeah. Well, see, that's a neat aspect. So you are more into the whole production side, the tech side of things, and working from that aspect. You're mentioning that you're working with Pro Tools and things, and a lot of the music that you've put together for yourself is just simply where you've gone through and layered and put things down. So in working on these, you said you use drum machine, but do you ever look for anybody live to help you with these besides the guys in Ohio? Do you have anybody around here? Or?
Yeah, actually, I have a drummer. I have a band. It's just a cover band. We're called the Knuckleheads. But anyway, we've played in Hurricane Marina, the company store. But the drummer in that band is incredible. And the only reason I haven't used him is because scheduling, just schedules, you know, working. But I'll tell you, as far as programming drums, the hardest part about that is making it sound real, because you can't just program a bunch of patterns and then throw them up there because they're so stiff. You know, it's perfect. It's completely quantized and perfect. So the art, there's an art in just doing that, and the art is making things imperfect. And if you make the wrong thing imperfect, well, then it sounds worse than it started to, you know, than it started off.
Having a discussion tonight with Josh Fields. We are discussing what it's like for one artist trying to make it and just kind of put their own music together and get it out there and get it heard. So we'll talk more about that as we continue with the local edition of the 9 o'clock news on Rock 93.7. It's the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Each week we feature somebody else in the studio talking to us about the music that they're making and what they're doing in the community. And I've got Josh Fields in with me tonight, and Josh is discussing with me what it's like working from an aspect of just solo artist, because you do all your own instruments. So you play your own guitar, you play your own bass, you program your own drums. We've determined that. And the thing about all of that coming together is when it comes time to get out and perform this stuff, have you given that much of a consideration, or what are your plans there?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, if I could get some kind of traction with it, I would. I mean, you'd not have to hire a band to come in. I have a drummer and a bass player, so I'd have a rhythm section to do it. But I've seen a lot of guys, because it's possible, use like Ableton Live and get up in front of a microphone with a guitar and just do their own music that way. And to me, it seems a little phony. A little. I'm not bad mouthing anybody who does it. It's not. This isn't coming from a place of hate. But to me, when I go and see live music, I want it to be just raw and nasty and just, all of the imperfections there. I just, to me, that's a form of expression. That's what made the old records sound great. The old Sabbath records, when you hear Tony's, Iommi's guitars and they're fighting each other because they're out of tune a little bit and they're, fighting each other like that. That is what turns me on. That real, or you hear some of the old records where a vocalist is trying to get up there and hit that note and he just can't get there, and they left it on the record. And that's what makes those records great. Now we got Pro Tools and I use it. You can slice and dice and it's almost getting to the point like, why don't we just sample our instruments, sample our voices and just program it in the computer and let it play. And it's, to me, it's kind of a, sad, melancholy thing. And I just, man, I'm against it all. I mean, I use it because that's the way I express myself, but live, I want a band.
So let's talk a little bit about another one of your tracks then, For a While. Tell me about how For a While came together for you. Did it start out with the lyrics or, like you said, 3 chords and the truth? Did you already have the 3 chords?
No, actually, For a While is is so old. It is. That's a song that we wrote in high school. That's how old that song is. As a matter of fact, Jeff Pence produced that track. He played bass on it, and he programmed the drums and produced that track, which is cool. But as far as the recording goes, I was just messing around in the studio one day, and I was playing the song for myself, and he was like, "What is that?" I was like, "That song I wrote back in high school." He's like, "We got to record that, man." That's how the recording came along. As far as writing goes, I didn't write the lyrics to that song. A good friend of mine handed me a big paragraph of just odds and ends of stuff that he had written, and I thought, man, there's some good stuff in here. So I took lines out of it that I really liked and wrote the riff, dun, 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 came up with that riff. And really it's almost like musical or lyrical schizophrenia. And if you listen to the lyrics, you can tell that because it's just stuff that I picked out of a big paragraph that he had written. And, for some reason, people love that song. I don't know. It's got, at the end, it's got the, I was listening to a lot of Soundgarden at the time. It's got the big high Chris Cornell screams at the end and kind of, tip of the hat to him on that. But, yeah, that's that song.
All right. Well, let's give that song a listen. It's For a While. It's Josh Fields on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Speaking tonight with Josh Fields on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7, and we've been discussing the music that you've put together, and it's interesting hearing how you've been working with some other musicians over the internet, writing music that way, and really kind of getting that put together. And your focus seems to be, mostly on making the music happen, and at some point maybe getting out and getting a chance to play that live. So I'm curious, in the process of putting all this together, how long did it take you to come to the realization that this is what you wanted to do as far as, okay, you know what? I'll just make my own music. I'll just be my own artist. I'll just do my own guitar, all my own stuff and make my music.
It took a long time because I wanted a band, I'm a musician and I like playing music with other people. The thing is if you know anything about bands, they're so hard to keep together. You either have, the right people and the wrong player, or the right players and the wrong people. I'm sure you've been around music for a long time. So, that's another thing I gotta thank Jeff Pence from Blessed Union. He's the one who set me up my own office and gave me a Pro Tools rig and said, "Man, you just need to do it yourself. You can do it." And I didn't have that kind of confidence in myself. I'd been writing songs for years, but I just wanted to play and write and, and have somebody else engineer it and produce it. And he's the one that said, "Man, you can do this." And because he's got gold records hanging on the wall, if he believed in me, then I had to, so that was how it all came about. I've been doing it now by myself for probably 6 years, 7 years. and actually got a Christian record. I did. That was the first thing I did.
You've been doing this for about how long? You've been making music in general,
Right.
playing it. Picked up a guitar and started playing it.
Oh my gosh, I've been playing since I was 5. I don't want to date myself. A long time.
A long time.
I've been writing songs since I was about 12 or 13.
So we started early on with the whole musical thing, and then we found ourselves. And what I think is interesting about that, you say that Jeff pointed out that you could just do it yourself. If you stop and look at some of the music scene now, you have a variety of bands that are out there, but there are certain artists that even though they're in a band, really just a band, just the one person, like Trent Reznor. Whenever you think of Nine Inch Nails, it's just Trent Reznor, really. I mean, there are other artists in the band that have added music and done things, but overall, it's his vision, it's his band. Same with Breaking Benjamin. Benjamin Burnley just got the rights back to his band, so they're getting ready to put out new music. So it's basically it's doable, and so I like hearing your enthusiasm. I'm hoping that down the road we'll be able to get some more from you. You got your EP in the works. How many songs going to be on it?
4 songs. 4 songs.
All right, 4 songs on the EP. That is going to be available online, I'm guessing.
Yeah, iTunes, CD Baby. You know.
Okay, so where can they find more about Josh Fields at? Where at online can they go?
Facebook.com/Josh Fields Rocks. ReverbNation.com/Josh Fields Rocks.
Okay, so very cool stuff. If you get the chance, take the chance. Go online, look up his stuff, and look for that EP coming out. And excited about that. Tell them the name of the EP again so they know what to look for.
The Electric Shaman is the name of the EP. I appreciate you, Greg. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh, for coming in and talking to me about all this tonight. It's been an honor, and really enjoyed the conversation.